Alright friends, we are in another exercise of Learnpack, and now we basically have to create a loop and add 10 random integers to an array. How are we going to do that? Well, the first thing we are going to do is place a for loop. We type the reserved word for, place parentheses, and then brackets. Perfect. Now we're going to declare a variable as the first argument of this for loop. Then we'll set a condition which, once not met, will break the for loop and it will stop executing. Afterwards, we will place a piece of code that will execute and transform this "and we declared" so we can ensure that the condition is not met, preventing the loop from running infinitely. The first thing we will do is a console.log right here, and we will do a console.log of ingest to see what happens. Notice that we have numbers from 1 to 9 and 0, from 0 to 9, a total of 10 times. Perfect. That's what we need so that we can make a loop 10 times. For instance, if we wanted to start from 1 instead of 0, then it would have to be less than 11 to still execute it 10 times. In this case, as we start from 0, it has to be less than 10. When it is 9, it's the last time it will execute. Perfect. Now we have to add a random integer to that array we previously defined. So we're going to create a variable called random integer right here, and we'll assign math.random as its value. Notice that I never called it, I only wrote it, but I have to call it because it is a function. Now we have the integer part, so we will multiply it like this, and there we go. We'll use array.push, because push, remember, adds an item to the end of my array. Then, in the end, we'll do a console.log of the array to see what we have, whether those items were added or not. We hit the run button and notice that in this case we have none, which means not a number. Why do we have not a number? Let's find out why. Because math.random, notice that I never called it, I just wrote it, but I have to call it because it is a function, it's a method. Now we indeed have the 10 new items in our array, and we can hit the run test button to see what happens, to see if it passes the test or not. And in this case, it passed without any problems. It means that we did it correctly and we can continue with our course on loops in JavaScript.